time the subject of overpopulation comes up, there's always this guy, or I guess sometimes it's a girl, who comes out with this shit, goes like this. Overpopulation is a myth. And if you press them on this, they say some shit like, there's plenty of room left. In fact, did you know you could fit the entire population of the Earth in the state of Texas? Okay, well, you could probably fit everyone in my neighborhood in my house, too. Doesn't mean it's a good idea. The problem here is not a space problem, okay? It's not the world's overpopulated because we're just running out of room for more humans. That's not the issue. It's oil that we're running out of. It's coal that we're running out of. It's fresh water that we're running out of.
Throughout the world, of course, there are all sorts of men. They look different in different places and have different ways of life. But basically, all men are the same. So to make things easier, let's put them together into one, and let this one stand for all. He's a common man, just like you and me. By nature, man is one of the animals, but he has something the rest do not have. Human intelligence, the ability to reason and plan ahead. Other animals are at the mercy of the world around them. But by his ability to reason, man has learned to improve his lot. Carrying him ever upward, this ability may someday make man master of all he surveys. Well, nearly all, for at his side, of course, is woman. But this upward rise is being slowed by the sheer weight of numbers. The family of man is increasing at an astonishing rate, almost doubling every
Too many humans killing the earth. The other day, Kamala Harris, currently the vice president, gave a climate talk saying we must reduce human population to make the air clean enough to breathe, to which her audience of Greens roared in approval. The White House later edited the transcript to say reduce pollution instead of population, without addressing the fact the Green cheers were very clearly for wiping out humanity.
Whole paradigm shift. A paradigm shift means the abandonment of the beliefs, values, facts, and assumptions upon which you've built everything. And if we shift our paradigm, then everything we've done in the past becomes suspect, at least. So we need to go a different route. And so far, we're unwilling to entertain the serious thinking and actions that would be required to go that different route. Let's assume we do think that we're in a desperate situation. Then clearly, right now, you should be rationing fossil fuel to those essential uses for which there are no immediate substitutes. And food production is one example. We should be taking every measure possible to reduce our need for energy. That's this discounting problem of the human mind. Better to enjoy the short-term benefits of low-cost housing than the long-term benefits of survival by taking the painful steps necessary to ensure the latter. So yeah, we're in a hell of a mess. I've contacted every single major environmental organization in Canada that is on the energy and climate thing, and they won't listen to any of this. It's all about the Green New Deal and the unlimited potential of abundantly cheap electrical and wind power in Canada. The more the bottom imposes on the top to do the things to support what the bottom wants, you have that kind of a symbiotic relationship. We have to have the top-down policies to enable the ordinary people to engage in the kind of lifestyles and community existences that move us forward. So it's neither top-down exclusively or bottom-up exclusively. They have to come together in some way. Democracies only work when you have a politically engaged, intelligent, well-informed population insisting. I have to say that I've tried to get versions of this particular perspective in the Globe and Mail, in a couple of other national publications online. I've sent a version of it to The Guardian. None of these mainstream publications want to touch it. It's simply taboo. So in that sense, I think there's a huge blockage here in getting an alternative version of reality. I'm not saying that I'm absolutely right about everything, but people need to understand the domain that we're dealing with here in a much better and more comprehensive way. People who still live close to the land are better off right now than those of us who are tied to things that cities provide. Cities are enormous parasites on the landscape. And I don't think a modern city will survive this century if we have to abandon fossil fuels. We will learn by necessity what skills we have to learn to survive. And it will be a kind of a natural selection. Those folks who do it well will survive. Those who don't are going to have a much harder time.
There are too many people, period. There have always been too many people, from the beginning. If these diaper-sniffing Christian baby-mongers would stop having so many of these cross-eyed little kids, maybe the rest of us would have a chance to spread out and have a little fun. Excess children waste our natural resources. If this society wants me to conserve energy, it had better get some of these child-worshipping religious fanatics to stop having 5, 6, or 7 babies. When they do that, I'll start turning off the lights. And yeah, I know the fertility rate is down. Good. It should go down even further. Every family should be allowed half a child. If that.
At the time, I remarked that government should not have a goal of culling humans, to which I got pushback that we have to do something about, quote, Earth's overtaxed resources. So what's the deal? Are Earth's resources strained by too many humans? In short, no, it's the opposite, for 2 reasons, markets and innovation.
In the 60 seconds it takes to watch this, we'll add 127 more people to the global population, and almost 200,000 more people each day. For global sustainability, population growth must be addressed, not with horrific, unethical, coercive approaches to push down on population growth, but by zooming in on the rights of women and girls. Robbing women of social power and self-determination drives up population growth.
Abundance. It's easy to ignore the obvious when everybody has what they need. We have a finite amount of resources, and one day we are going to run out. Space, fuel, and water.
Population is growing, our resources shrinking. On average, 250 babies are born every minute. That's more than 130 million every year. But with overstretched cities reaching breaking point, are we at risk of running out of room? In 1800, there were about 1 billion people roaming the planet. Today, that figure has exploded to just over 7.5 billion. Half of us live in urban areas, a figure predicted to rise to 66% by 2050. It's expected there will be 2 billion cars on our roads by 2040, and we'll be clocking 20 trillion air travel kilometers in the same period. But cities such as Delhi are choking on fumes. In November of last year, air pollution surged way above hazardous on the Air Quality Index, caused in part by diesel exhaust in the city. In Shanghai, traffic congestion has become so bad, officials are aiming to limit the city's population to 25 million people by 2035. A figure some academics say has already been surpassed. Untamed urbanization by humans is also taking its toll on the natural world. Experts warn that we have destroyed 10% of the world's wilderness in 25 years, crowding some species towards complete extinction. The global average fertility rate is just 2.5 children per woman, but in some parts of the world that figure is much higher. In Niger, women have on average 7 children each, while Chad's fertility rate is around 6.5 children per woman. Past efforts to curb environmental damage have focused on population control in developing nations. In the 1960s, a huge government-sponsored family planning program was rolled out in India, putting controversial sterilization drives at the heart of efforts to combat population growth. In the late 1970s, the Chinese government introduced a raft of population curbing measures, including its controversial one-child policy. But some experts say it's not a case of overpopulation in poorer countries, but of overconsumption in rich ones. The Northern Hemisphere, home to 13 of the 15 largest countries by GDP, emits more greenhouse gas per capita than the Southern Hemisphere. Fertility rates in sub-Saharan Africa may be higher, but a person in Niger emits a fraction of the amount of carbon as a person in the United States or the United Kingdom. Some researchers expect the number of people on the planet to reach more than 11 billion by the end of the century, while others say overpopulation is overstated. Is it a question of controlling our growing population? Or is it about how we continue to treat our planet?
Full of beauty, full of wonder, full of awe, birds chirping, and flowers full of color. The world we know, so grand. Animals shaping everything we know to be home. Light that never allows you to blink. Sights that spark that curiosity in our beings. Little wonders bringing bliss into our lives. But it isn't all beauty. There's so many things going on in the world that not many know about. With the population growing, cities will expand, flowers and birds will be pushed out, and the beauty we think we know will cease to be there. Limiting our population will lessen the destructiveness. If it is preventable, don't pass up the opportunity.